Hello, hello, and welcome back to my channel, Evolving with Elise. My name is Elise, and if you are new here, I share videos about personal development, spirituality, and inner healing, and so much more. So if you're interested in those topics, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the little bell. That way you will be notified whenever I share new videos. And if you are returning, welcome back. We have a juicy topic that we're diving into today, which is all about becoming the main character of your life, of your reality, moving forward from this point on. Yeah, just to open up with a little personal story, although I have been practicing many modalities with mindset and brain rewiring for years and years and years, the past couple years, I grew a little distant from those practices. And there were some patterns of me giving my power away and also struggling with chronic illness behind the scenes. With that, I had this experience where I did not feel like I was the main character of my reality at all. In fact, I started to take more of a passive approach to life, where I felt like my energy, my light, was shrinking and dimming and kind of like this sort of energetic motion. And through revisiting some practices that I had been doing years ago and also tuning into more of the science out there, like the science and biology of belief, of mindset, of neuroplasticity, I started to implement these new practices, or it was like old practices, but in a new way and with new information. I started to notice that from going like this, I started to open up and blossom and feel like I was playing and operating from so much more of an active place versus a passive place. And so today I'm going to share with you a few of the practices that have been the most transformative for me in the last few months. And my hope is that these will make a really positive impact in your life. In fact, I know that they will. As long as you implement them and apply them. So I'm excited to share all of this with you. The theme here is self-practiced neuroplasticity. So actually using your own awareness and your own direction to rewire the way that things have been happening so that you can really feel like the main character. You can feel like you're actively choosing and living from this more alive, open space. So let's get into it. I do have some notes here to keep us structured because in the past I had the tendency of talking and there would be wisdom, there would be golden nuggets, and we're going to make this more structured so it's really easy for you to apply. So step number 1 is upgrading your practiced thoughts and emotions. This is where you're going from autopilot, what's typically happening, the things that you're thinking and the ways that you're feeling, autopilot, unconscious, subconscious, into consciously choosing. And so one of the resources that I tuned into this past summer was Joe Dispenza's audiobook called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I heard his name over the years, Joe Dispenza. And I finally tuned in, and it was really powerful to see like, oh my gosh, I was using those practices, similar practices for years and years, and to be able to understand through his teachings, like the how it actually works, the why it works, the science behind it, and the brain states and all the different things, it just all clicked into place. And it was really a beautiful reflection of that inner wisdom that came through me years ago of knowing that it was important to do these practices. Anyway, one of the things that I picked up in a new way from his teachings is this. Let's say there is an emotion. Let's say there's the emotion of fear. If that emotion is practiced for a period of time, let's say a few days, a few hours, a few days, it becomes a mood. So there's emotion of fear, and then it becomes a mood of fear. Or we can use the example, let's say like angst or like irritability. There's the emotion of irritability. If it's practiced for a few hours or a few days, it becomes this mood of irritability. And then let's say it's practiced for months, for weeks or for months, it becomes a temperament. So that's like when you are driving your shopping cart, rolling your shopping cart in the grocery store, and you accidentally bump into somebody else's cart and they just have a fit and they're like, "What? Watch where you're going. What the heck?" And you can feel the energy seeping out of them. And they have a temperament. Their temperament is irritability or being on edge. And then if that same emotion continues to be the practiced emotional state, then it becomes a personality. With this, I'll use my own personal example. There was a time when there was well-being and health and vitality, and then there was a time where I was exposed to something in my environment and it started to impact my health. And so that started to create these feelings inside of me of fear, of weakness, of confusion, of I don't know what to do. There were also thoughts associated with that, which we'll get to. There was this practiced feeling that I was in during the time that I was sick again and again and again, that it became a mood, it became a temperament, and it started to impact my personality. When I look back on my whole lifetime, there was times when there was like brightness and extroversion and expression, playfulness, and then there became this whole different thing that was happening because of what was practiced in my feelings and in my thoughts. So I just wanted to share that little map with you because it was really eye-opening for me. Like, oh yeah, that totally is what happens over time. And I know also in different generations, when individuals get to a point that they're in their later years, there starts to be this like, I'm just set in my ways. This is how it's always been. And when we look at what's actually happening, like they've been practicing similar thoughts and emotions for such a long period of time that it really has become that deeply ingrained. And so I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you and celebrate you for clicking on this video and for having the intuition or the care to shift the way that things have been going for you, because it most definitely is possible. So when we look at upgrading your practiced thoughts and emotions, we can see how the practiced emotions are impacting you and your personality and the way that you show up in the world. And then simultaneously, that's happening with our thoughts as well. So what are the practiced thoughts that somebody who's irritable, feeling irritable, might be thinking? Like, oh, this is so annoying, this is frustrating, why does this keep happening, why is this going wrong? We can start to map out what are the practiced thoughts that are then compounding and creating this type of feeling and persona. The action step here, when it comes back to main character, becoming the main character of your life and getting out of that autopilot on into consciously choosing passive to active, the action step is to make a list of your practiced thoughts and emotions that have been limiting you. I would say 10 of each, like really get the gears and reflection going. What have I been feeling that is kind of on the opposite side of my main character, my most elevated self, my most present self, my most conscious self, my most thoughtful self, confident self, all the things. What is on the other side that has actually been happening? And maybe it's things that you've been trying to keep on the DL, like you don't want other people to know, but those actually have been your practiced thoughts and emotions. For me, this was a very eye-opening experience, and it is every single time I do practices like this. It's amazing too, because I went through this back in the summer, and then I revisited that same list like a couple months later, and none of them were really the same anymore. I had worked through those things with the practices that I'm going to share with you in just a minute, and then there were new ones. The way that I view it is peeling the layers of an onion. When it comes to self-awareness and noticing our patterns and how things have been going, it's like peeling one layer, working through it, peeling another layer. So the action step is make a list of your practiced thoughts that have been limiting you and make a list of the practiced emotional states that have been limiting you. And then after you do that, you're going to make a list of thoughts and emotional states that are more supportive for you. So things that feel more like in the direction of your main character, your true self, your best self. So those are some practical steps. We're not going to do it now, but if you want to just make a note that those are the practices that you'll return to. And then the next thing is having a redirect tool. what I've found inside of my Ascend community, and likely so many of the beings who are watching this video right now, there's already a high level of self-awareness. And so you're already noticing like, oh, that thought is not what I want to be thinking. Those practiced states are not really where I want to be. Those behaviors are not really what I want to be doing. And you're watching yourself. There's this self-awareness on, I notice that that's happening. And so what you need to really integrate is this epic and simple redirect tool. So for me, I call it pause and pivot. In some of the brain rewiring programs that I've been through, it's stop, stop, stop. Whatever little mantra or redirect tool you want to use to help you notice and then shift your awareness to something new. And when you're shifting your awareness, that's where you're going to be plugging in that list of new thoughts and new emotional states and new behaviors if you want to go that deep into it. It doesn't have to be like that super structured in the moment. For me, it looks a little bit like, oh, that's an outdated thought. Yep, that seems familiar, like to that list that I had. Yep, that's definitely in that category. Okay, I'm going to pause and I'm going to pivot to a thought that I'm consciously choosing. Or if there is a reaction that's coming up, an emotional response, well, there's a lot of different things we can do here. We can go into the nervous system regulation, co-regulation, grounding, all of that. But right now we're working primarily with the mind and neuroplasticity. So whenever we're noticing pattern from the past, notice it, pause, and then pivot to something new that we're consciously choosing. So you don't have to like bring out your list every time. You might want to for the first week or so of practicing this, like have it readily available and then redirect to, no, I choose this. Eventually it'll become more intuitive where it's like very clear to identify like these are limiting thoughts and these are the thoughts that I choose. Essentially what you're doing is instead of allowing those thoughts and those outdated practices to be on autopilot and it just keeps happening and then it's like you're living in this place of autopilot, you're pausing, you're redirecting your awareness back to this present moment, which is the only moment, the present, that you have conscious choice. Next up is embodied declaration. So this is where you're going to be declaring your new beliefs, the choices that you're making. This could be like, I choose confidence. I am secure in myself. I express myself with ease. I am incredible at time management. Like any sort of declarations, mantras, affirmations that may be similar to the new thought patterns that you're choosing. Practicing this on a regular basis, but not just saying it, not just staying up in the mental body, up here in the mind, but actually bringing it all the way down through your physical body. That's why it's called embodied declarations. So as I'm saying, I speak my truth with ease, I'm actually speaking from all the way through my body, not just up here in my mind saying it. So let's see if you can notice the difference. Okay, let me go hardcore into my mind. I speak my truth with ease. And then I'm going to drop into my body and really feel the truth. I speak my truth with ease. So I felt a difference. I don't know if you noticed a difference from the outside looking in. There can be a felt sense of what these declarations are. Another thing here that has been extremely helpful for me, and maybe this is considered more of a redirect or just a perception change altogether, but I like to draw a line in this present moment where I'm noticing a thought or something of the old way, an old outdated pattern that's no longer serving me, and then I catch it, and instead of continuing to choose that and think that and go down rabbit holes of that or to be in that old state of feeling and operating, I notice it, and this is the practice of self-awareness, and then there's a line right here. So it's like, nope, that's in the past. That is how I was thinking and feeling and operating and behaving in the past. But right now, in the present moment, I have choice. And that's where I'm doing the declaration. So this can be really powerful in two different ways. You can do the declarations like every morning, every evening, carve out that time for yourself, but then it's also incredibly powerful in the exact moment that you're noticing the old way creeping in. And then you say, stop, stop, stop. Or, okay, I'm going to pause and I'm going to push that into the past, declare that that's in the past, and here's my new declaration that I'm speaking right now and carrying into the future. So instead of bringing the old way into the future, it's no. Drawing a line, that's in the past, this is now, this is what I choose, and feeling it. There's also a quote that I noted of perception informs behavior. This is a quote from Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief, which was another powerful resource for me to really understand the science and the biology of what's actually happening when we do these practices. And it's so powerful. So when I say perception informs behavior, that's why I shared that practice of I'm perceiving that that's in the past, and now I have choice in this present moment, instead of perceiving the past as the truth, right? It's like if you ever say like, oh, I'm really struggling with being authentic in my relationships. You're choosing to take something that's outdated from the past that you don't actually want to be true, and you're claiming and declaring that it's something you're currently struggling with, when there's the opportunity for a perception shift of, no, that's in the past. In the past, I struggled with being authentic in relationships, and now this is the truth. And now this is the declaration. And so that's a whole new way of perceiving that impacts and influences our behavior. And so that's why in this video, I'm focusing on what's happening in the mind, what's happening in the brain, versus let's set these goals to have these behaviors because this is what my main character does. The behaviors come naturally when we have a perception that I have an easy time being authentic in my relationships. Next up is find evidence that it's working. So similarly with perception informs behavior, if we have the perception of this is how it's always been, this is how it currently is, and the struggle just continues and continues, we're going to find more evidence of that in our external reality. So we actually want to find evidence that our new declarations and our new thought patterns and our new emotional states are making a positive impact on us and others, on us and the world. Some examples of evidence that these changes are working: you may feel naturally drawn to healthier behaviors or experiences. You may feel more confident and capable. You may notice that other people are responding to you in new ways. You may notice that there's new opportunities presenting themselves for you. A big part of this is keeping your eyes open for evidence that your new declarations and thought patterns are true. They are true now. It's not that there's a gap and you need to do all these behaviors in order to achieve that. It's, no, I'm declaring it. It's true now. And look at this. The world is reflecting that back to me. Okay, another element of this is co-creating with the divine. So essentially opening up to your true essence versus just creating your main character from the conditioned mind. The way that I've mapped this out is it's sort of like step one, become your main character. And that's basically you claiming something new, choosing something new, using your free will choice. It's sort of like, what's the better feeling thought? What's the better feeling thought? What's the better feeling behavior? What's the better feeling behavior? What's the better feeling emotion? What's the better feeling emotion? You're getting yourself, like in my experience, where there was illness and thoughts and emotions that tied into that, and there was this dampering feeling. It's like I'm going through all those practices that I just shared with you to create this opening, better feeling, more expansive. That's the process of becoming the main character, becoming more of an active player. But then there's this other step, this other transition that we can take if we choose to, which is opening up to your true essence, to our true essence, to the divine nature, to spirit, to God, to the universe, to source energy. And that's a shift beyond these brain rewiring techniques. And some tools that can help us open to the divine. One is regulating our nervous system, finding safety, because the other way is creating from the conditioned mind, which is unregulated. The nervous system is not regulated, and we're creating actually out of pattern. If you want to kind of learn more about what I'm referencing here, I've shared a lot about it in my past videos, and I referenced the 5 Personality Patterns book. But what I'm speaking to here is tools that can support us in opening to spirit, to the divine, to our true essence, beyond the confines of that conditioning. Because otherwise we can keep creating our main character from a limited view again and again. But there's probably always going to be that feeling of like, I'm still not feeling connected to my true essence. And it's because we haven't opened to that being possible yet. So tools to support in that: regulating your nervous system, shifting states of awareness. So shifting from this limited view into open awareness, processing stuck emotions so that you can liberate more of your life force energy. That kind of goes hand in hand with nervous system regulation. It's like working through the wounding, the hardships in the past, the traumas in the past that created all of this contraction and confinement in the body, using the mind to distract and protect. So as we process those stuck emotions, we're liberating more energy and we're opening our body out of that contracted state, and also healing certain developmental stages. So again, referencing the 5 Personality Patterns book, but being able to feel connected to ground, to feel safe, to feel belonging here on earth, to feel our core, to feel a healthy sense of self. So there's all these practices that can help us open to infinite possibilities, to divine intelligence. That's where our true essence actually lies. And the way that I have experienced it is it's more of this opening to be able to allow the divine to stream through me. That's what I was always seeking when I was trying to be the main character and create this archetype, be more consistent with these things or do these practices. Ultimately, I was looking for that connection with the divine. And so that's another place that we can move to and open to if we choose to. And so all of these tools that I just referenced as gateways to opening to true essence are things that I'm going to be sharing about and teaching about in a new offering coming soon that I'm so excited to bring to you. And so if you're interested in learning more about those practices, like regulating your nervous system and processing stuck emotions and shifting states of awareness and really stabilizing this safety and stability within you so that you can open to something greater than you and to feel that union and connection. If you're interested in that, I'm going to share a waitlist link down in the video description that you can check out. This pretty much wraps up the video that I had in store for you. And if you're really looking to quantum leap into a new experience where you feel like you're the active player in your life versus living more passively in confusion and uncertainty and lack and struggle and blockages and all of that, if you're really looking to experience something new, I highly encourage you to implement these practices that I shared with you today. Like I said, I know that this will work for you if you choose to implement this. It has changed my life so much in the past years and then also in the recent few months with the illness that I was experiencing and getting really into this challenging place behind the scenes and feeling like I couldn't create and I couldn't fulfill my life's purpose and all these different things. It was a really challenging place to be. And through implementing these tools, I'm in a completely different state now. Like I feel more active. I feel more self-expressed and confident. And like I said, more of that like flower blossoming open. So I really want that for you too. And that's going to wrap up this video. Love, if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below your biggest takeaway and what you commit to, what your declarations are moving forward. And that's all for today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.